So, here we are again with yet another Games Workshop release that I have purchased. On with the show, so they say. So, here you'll see this is, of course, Kill Team Chalnath, and I have gone through everything here and put together most of it. The game comes with the terrain sprues from its Sector Imperialis and a Tau kill team, and also a Sisters of Battle kill team. Now, for me, these are two kill teams that I have been interested in. And as you can see, as with the last release, you have several options that you can use for each of the bodies and whatnot. So what I did this time around is I actually used a spreadsheet to put everything together. And that worked pretty well for me because I just wanted to make sure that I could get all of the options I wanted without putting things together the wrong way. The first step for the Tau is pretty easy. You just put the torsos on the legs and then you just go from there. And all of them are just torso and legs. Easy enough. They got the same familiar symptoms of any Games Workshop release where you've got multiple options. And I have to say, the Tau included are super customizable. There are tons and tons of weapons left over even after I put together my entire kill team and all the drones. So it worked out pretty well. So the drones themselves, and we'll see this later, I actually magnetized the drones. I know they just kind of slot together, but I didn't like how they wobble so much, so I put together something to make them less wobbly. The sisters, I have to say, were probably the easiest to put together. Now here, you'll see that this is the manual for the original Kill Team release. Well, it's not the original release, but the first release back in 2018, 2019, something like that. The one with the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Gene Stealer cult. The terrain that is included with Chalnath is the exact same terrain to a sprue as the old Kill Team set. So for anybody that feels like they missed out on that set, this is perfect. Get it, because it's everything you missed. As you can see here, this is my sprue pile and my initial workings. I did kind of make a little bit of a mistake here with the buildings, and we'll go over that here now, as a matter of fact. The buildings are just a tad hard to put together, at least for the walls anyway. My recommendation is to use the floor panel to help you put the walls together straight. Now, I did not glue down the tops, and I didn't do this with my other set either because it makes it easier for me to go back and use that as more scattered terrain or whatnot in case I wanted to fill out a bigger table. So, as you can see, there's a little bit of a gap, and that's because I did not level it properly when I was putting it all together. Everything else, all of the wall sections and everything went together pretty well. It's just when you get to the floors, you have to make sure that you put a floor tile into the walls just to make sure that all of the walls go together properly. That way everything will come out straight without a problem. Now, the underside here, we'll see the bottom. The floor tiles worked out pretty well. This second building is the one where I actually took my own advice here, and I used the wall and the floor tiles together to keep everything level. Now, as you can see, there were a couple of tiles that still didn't go up properly, and I put these buttresses that hold up the floor on last, as a matter of fact. I glued everything together, put it on its, put it down on the top there, flipped it over, and then I glued in the supports. Now this is the original Kill Team, and you can see that it's actually mostly painted. I still have to do the metallics and whatnot, but it's been sitting on a shelf. But as you can see, this is the exact same terrain. It's just in the first edition Kill Team, they had you put it together in a different way. So that actually works out just fine for me, because that makes it so I can fill out an even bigger table with Sector Imperialis terrain using both of these sets. So for me, that was a win, because I've already got some of the set. Might as well go ahead and complete it. So as you can see, it's the exact same parts and pieces, the exact same assembly. Everything is literally the exact same spruce. You can't go wrong here. The terrain is excellent once you get it all painted up and set out on the table. And as you can see here, I actually went back and sprayed one of the pieces, but I used the wrong spray can. Now this is a good note for those of you who are putting together terrain like this. You need to make sure that you write down or take a picture of the can that you use. Now, I do know which can I used. Luckily, I still had a little bit of it left. I just picked up the wrong can and sprayed because I got overzealous. So just a note, though, make sure you always write down what color schemes you use to paint stuff like this. That way, when you come back, you have access to it and you can properly paint it up and put it together without any issues. So moving on, the Tau assembly was a little janky. I had some issues here and there, but what I ended up doing is I ended up putting together just enough of the Pathfinders to fill out the kill team. And I actually possibly plan on buying some more Pathfinders. These two, like I said, the Tau and the Sisters were two of the teams that I really wanted to try in Kill Team and in Warhammer. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go on with this and just watch me put some of this stuff together as well as I can anyway. So here is a work in progress shot of the Tau. Now I decided to base these guys with astrogranite debris, and I also pulled out some of the I have a canister of Gale Force 9's concrete rubble as well. So I figured I'd base these guys in kind of an urban manner, and I kind of like the way it turned out. I like the way that these look. I know it's a little hard to see because of how white the concrete is, how bright it is, but it's got an outer layer that looks like it's been chipped off, like it's been blown up or destroyed. Now here you can see the final product, all of the Tau put together, and the basing almost done. Of course, I still have to put the astrogranite on after I paint everything, but this is how everything ended up looking. That's the team, the build out that I used. And the interesting thing here is that the drones turned out a lot better than I thought they would, and I'll touch on that here in just a minute. The drones themselves, they slot together fairly easily, and as you can see, I put a little magnet on the end of the slot there. So what I ended up doing is taking each of the drone assemblies, and I put two very tiny magnets inside the drone itself, and I superglued one magnet to the bottom piece of the assembly. Now, initially, the two magnets was a mistake, but it turns out you can fit two of those small magnets in there. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to magnetize the bases. You can pick them up easily enough, but this way you can use any of the bases, any of the tops, and it doesn't really affect your ability to move the models around on the table, because before I put the magnets in, everything was kind of sliding around and coming out of place, and I just couldn't, I couldn't leave it like that. It was driving me absolutely nuts. So in the end, using those very tiny magnets, it worked out pretty well, especially once I had two magnets in there, because then I can stick one magnet on the bottom piece, and I can end up just, kind of pushing it in there, and the magnets will keep it there, keep it steady, and keep it together. The only problem that I ran into is super gluing a tiny magnet to a very tiny plastic dowel was it was difficult, to say the least, especially when you wanted to line everything up, because obviously you can't test it until it's fully dry. And that's actually how I ended up making the initial mistake. Is right there you see that the magnet actually snapped off on the inside. So what I ended up doing is just pushing it in there. Now, I'm going to spare you the horror of me snipping plastic this time, and just show you my sister's team. I ended up building one of everything except for the, oh goodness, Profilizer. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that wrong. The one that can. Oh shoot, I don't even remember what she does. She didn't look interesting. I actually was initially not going to build a Condemner because I don't know how many psychic enemies I'll be fighting in Kill Team. But I ended up using two of the Flamers, the Purgatus, I believe they are, and instead of taking a Duelist. So I'm missing a Duelist and the one that's holding the cup. I really wish I could remember the name of the model, but it's escaping me right now. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and hopefully you found something you can use.